it's absolutely apparent to me that we've got this idea that people are being experimented upon with experimental drugs, off-label drugs, including children, and no one is being held accountable. No one seems to be being held accountable for it. And if you really care about transgender people and you're listening, you should be advocating for this. You should really be shouting at the top of your voice saying, look at what they're doing to these people. Look at what they're doing to people. Look at the surgeries. And if they do it to my son, they'll be very sorry.
Do we think things are on the turn? I think, is the balance shifting in a positive direction, do you think? What do folk think? I think people are getting sick of a lot of this. I think they genuinely are. I'm hopeful, but then I live in Scotland, so you've got to have hope, don't you? Because we've got nothing else at the moment.
Well, God, I hope so. I really do hope so. It's just, I've thought so ever since I started. So every other week I'm going, surely, it's, I hope so. I do see a lot more talk, generally. And so I'm always positive that people are suddenly going to go, no, this is not right. Let's stop it. But people seem to be sort of caught up in this kind of, we don't want to hurt people's feelings. And that's great. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings either.
And I was at the women's football final at the weekend at Hampden. I'm thinking, according to I think current theory, those 22 women out there, some of whom were as young as 15, running about that park, are all gender non-conforming. So what, are they all technically trans men? Is that what you're trying to tell these women who are now professional athletes? Maybe I'm overthinking it, I don't know, but I became quite kind of, that gets me quite kind of passionate, that this nonsense about these sort of stereotypes, and that's what really bugs me about a lot of this. It's so regressive. It's such regressive thinking about what is considered male and female and what is considered a man and a woman. It really, really bugs me.
I remember getting told, like, I'm 46, so whenever I was 8, I wasn't allowed to play football with the boys anymore because I just wanted to be with the boys. But obviously it was, it was like the 90s and, well, 80s and a Catholic school. I'm saying 90s. I'm trying to make myself younger. The 90s and the noughties were, grand. We were just getting past it. They weren't grand, but we were getting there. We seemed to be moving in the right direction, where it didn't matter whether you were gender non-conforming, it didn't matter whether you were lesbian, it didn't matter whether you were gay, and we were kind of moving. And now it just seems to have like totally regressed into something else. It's just, I just can't believe how far we've gone backwards.
And then misogynistic Mike popping up, making me feel totally sick to my stomach that the motherfucker is just whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, ignore him. Absolutely avoid him at all costs. Managed to meet him finally yesterday. Went into his space for like 5 minutes and it was like, oh yeah, you're this and that and the other. I was like, oh, really? And I just went, yeah, oh yeah. I hear I also love to glove lots of men as well. So I just
honestly, he was like basically talking shit about women feeling entitled to the word woman. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying, you stupid fuck?
No, he's trolling. He's trolling. He wants a reaction. He wants women to react. He's a narcissist, obviously. And I've only met him once. But from what I've heard from everyone who talks about him, he's a narcissist and he loves the attention. So I'm gonna stop talking about him. But yes, absolutely, that's what he wants. You're gaslit. You're told that you're, overreacting. You're this, you're that, you're the other. Nobody else will ever love you. And he's gaslighting anyone who's staying in his space for a long time. He's not the only one. He's in a room full of narcissists. So, I mean, let them go ahead and narcissist each other. It's fantastic. Let them go ahead and do it. Isn't it fun? I try and ignore them. I honestly think it's the best thing to do. And, you know, they don't seem to be able to ignore us, because we're the most interesting thing in the whole of the internet, apparently. You know, making videos about us and recording all our spaces. But we're obviously the most interesting people in the world. It's amazing.
I mean, honestly,
Um,
there was a tranny there that literally was saying that by taking hormones and, you know, having surgeries for enough years, it literally made her female. Him female. Literally saying that. Literally arguing
I
that
thought,
with
yes, I
all the
know.
jargon there is. I was absolutely flabbergasted that anybody can actually really say that with a straight face.
Look, there's no talking to these people, Sylvestra. It doesn't seem to be, there seems to be no kind of barrier that they won't cross. When it comes to, you know, breastfeeding, they can't see that, you know, even scientists, even the best scientists in the world, don't know why breast is best. And now they're putting out articles saying, you know, fed is best, you know, if you so choose or whatever. It's just absolutely abhorrent to me. And I'm using this word abhorrent quite a bit today.
To be honest with you, I am really just, I mean, not only, I mean, obviously, the obvious topic, right, is the safety of the baby and the baby getting the nutrients it needs. But also the fact that, to be honest with you, a male breastfeeding a child just gives me the fucking ick. It just feels wrong on the most fundamental level. I get a gut reaction, like I want to throw up. And it's subconscious, unconscious, whatever, right? Reaction. It is just wrong. So, like, you know, reading these stories about these males, especially that freaking freak that also has a OnlyFans where he like does this whole "I am a cow," you know, milk me
I'm a
thing.
guy. Fuck off, you dick.
That just, and
Oh,
then he took pictures of himself with the baby, and I was like, somebody call the freaking child services to this freak's house, because it honestly, it freaked me the fuck out. Yeah.
somebody did. Somebody did call social
They did?
services.
Are you serious?
Yes,
Yeah, they did.
and
The
somebody,
response was that
somebody,
the
yeah,
child was
it
not in
wasn't very
danger
good.
and there is no doctor's report of malnutrition, so they are not going to do anything. I need to drop off, Belfast. Thanks for the space. I need to do this very manly thing, meaning I need to take the trash out.
Women are shamed for breastfeeding in public. I was shamed for breastfeeding in public. Like, I remember a guy turning around to me, and I was out for coffee, and I you know, put my baby and it was the first time I'd been out in 6 weeks, and I, you know, put the baby under the blanket, and, you know, he was having a drink and I was having a coffee, and my brother's friend arrived to sit and have coffee with us, and he went, "Oh, what are you doing? Put that away." And I went, "I thought you'd be better than that. I genuinely thought you'd be better than that." And he didn't know what to say. I was just like, "No, well, you know, we're having a drink, we're having a coffee. Um, my child needs a drink. That's just normal." And I was still embarrassed. I was still terribly embarrassed. And even going, you know, I remember whenever my daughter's 27, so whenever I was breastfeeding her, I was put into the front room by her grandparents. They put me into the front room to feed because they were embarrassed. And this was in the 90s. This is like 96. You know, and they put me into the front room and saying, "Oh, you'd be more comfortable in there." And I didn't know how to argue. I was only 19. I was like, no, I thought I was doing a good thing by feeding my baby with myself. But they put me into the front room because they were embarrassed because they didn't want to see my breast.
Yeah, now we have all these
Going
freaky
through
men getting
it.
off on this shit. Ugh.
I know, it's like, no. And women are shamed for it. Women are shamed for breastfeeding in public. And it's, you think that doesn't happen, but it really does. It's like, it's really crazy, because people kind of go, oh, well, could you not do that somewhere else? Do you not want to go to a different room? And they try and be nice about it, but it's more like, oh, do you not want to go to a different room to do that? Would you not be more comfortable going to a different room? Well, actually, no, I wouldn't be more comfortable going to a different room. I'd rather just do it here and normally have a wee blanket to cover yourself or whatever. But even so, people are still uncomfortable. It's like, I'm feeding my baby. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. There's a brilliant poem by a lady called, goodness. It's called, oh goodness, what do you call her? It'll come to me. Because she's absolutely, what do you call her? I've forgotten her name. It'll come to me. It's in my brain. It's just at the back. So I'm going to have to remember. But it's a brilliant poem. And she did, it was on Channel 4, funny enough. She actually got a video on Channel 4 about it. Eventually. I remember seeing her. She came into Belfast live. And like the best night ever because there was loads of women with their babies in the basement of a bar, and we were all nobody was drinking, but loads of breastfeed. I was drinking, but I didn't have a breastfed baby at the time. But loads of women who were breastfeeding just came. It's like 40 odd women, all sitting with their babies at night time in a bar in Belfast, and it was just like, wow, this is amazing. And then the rest of us were, Holly McNish, that's what you call her, Holly McNish. Brilliant woman. Just really kind of down to earth, poet. Um, and she writes loads of great stuff. But she's just really kind of down to earth, writes a lot about motherhood. Um, I'll put a wee link in the thread, but somebody else talk because I'm waffling away here.
I need to drop off Belfast. Thanks for the space. I need to do this very manly thing, meaning I need to take the trash out.
Oh, go and do the bins, love. Go and do the buns. Go and do the bin. Go and do your manly duty.
Yeah, I got to do my manly duty after that. Yeah, I mean, I was cooking dinner today, so I was a woman. So now I need to sort of transgender back to being a man. So yeah, thanks for the space. See you.
No, night. Love you. So did anybody watch Stock? I haven't seen it yet.
I'm just having a quick look at the hashtag on Twitter because Channel 4 have put up a hashtag for it, and it's overwhelmingly Kathleen Stock is perfectly reasonable.
Not sure how long it is. I didn't watch it. So I just kind of had this space and I thought, oh, I'll just keep on. I'll watch it in the morning whenever my mind is clear. Right, there's an awful lot of listeners and not an awful lot of speakers here. What are you doing? Ladies, come on up.